And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Collins versus Sabet. Step forward, please.
23-year-old Erin Collins is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Amir Sabet, for a $500 loan. Amir says the money was a birthday gift.
Miss Collins, you and the defendant dated for a brief period of time. $500 changed hands from you to the defendant. You claim it was a loan. He says it was a gift. Why in the world would you give him money?
Because he was in need, and...
Look at me.
I'm looking at you. He was in need. I had slept over that night.
Slept at his apartment?
Yes.
What night was it?
The first week of May.
Of '06?
Correct.
And how long had you been dating him at the time?
6 months.
So you slept at his apartment?
Correct. And? That night I was over, he was pacing, saying that his father was in Las Vegas and that he needed to pay his father's bills when he was away. He asked me if I could loan him the money.
How much did he say he needed?
He said he needed $500.
So you said you would loan him the money?
Correct.
When did he say he would pay you back?
That Saturday.
What was going to happen the following Saturday that would give him $500?
His father was flying in from Las Vegas at Logan Airport, and he was picking him up, and he said he would receive the money then. He went to go pick him up at Logan Airport, and he said he would receive the money the next week. It continued, I will give you the money, I will give you the money, and it went on for months, and I did not receive the money.
But you continued to see him?
No, we did not continue to see each other.
Well, when did you stop seeing him?
In June.
So this happened the first week in May, and you stopped seeing him in June?
Correct.
Why?
Why? Because he started acting weird, promising that he'd give me the money, and he has talked to several of my friends about it.
Don't tell me anything that he discusses with your friends. That's hearsay.
Correct, and I also have text messages on my cell phone. If you would like to see them.
Do you have them with you?
I do.
I'd like to see them.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Sabat, you want to tell me about this $500, please?
Yeah, it was given to me as a gift.
When?
In early May.
Well, tell me how that came about, Mr. Sabat.
I told her I had to pay my father's bills before he came back. It was for his mortgage. So she gave me the $500.
Just a second. Why did you have to pay your father's mortgage?
He was away. I've been helping him for a while. He just sold his house last month, and he's not working. He's retired. My mother passed away last August.
It's a very sad story, sir. Why were you paying your father's mortgage?
Just helping him.
What was he doing in Las Vegas?
On a vacation to get away from everything with my aunt and uncle.
He flew to Las Vegas?
Yep.
Instead of paying his mortgage?
Well, I told him I'd take care of it. I told him, go have fun.
So I assume that if you told your father to go and have fun, that you would take care of it, that you had the money.
Correct.
So why didn't you use your money?
Well, business was slow at the time where I work, and
How long was your father in Las Vegas?
a week.
He was coming back after the first week in May, so I assume the mortgage was due May 1st. There is a certain grace period with a mortgage. Why did you take $500? Don't give me the baloney about your father's mortgage. Why did you take $500 from her?
She gave it to me as an early birthday gift. She said, don't pay it back.
Mr. Sabat, let me explain something to you. I don't believe you. You're a liar.
I'm
Paying
not
your father's mortgage is not a birthday present. If you said, I need $500, I want to go out and buy myself something, or I owe people money and I have to pay them, or else I'm going to get myself in trouble, then I could understand her saying to you, I love you, honey. Here's $500 that you need. It's an early birthday present. But not to pay your father's mortgage. That is not romantic, sir. You understand?
Well, I understand, yeah.
Good. That's not what you needed $500 for. Don't believe you.
Okay.
On June 14th, you sent her a message, sir, that says, after I pay you, I don't want to see you or hear you again. You remember that?
She texted it to herself. You can text message online and send it to somebody's phone. I never sent the text message.
So what did you do when she asked you for the money? Did you respond to her?
I never responded to any of her phone calls. I actually...
When did she start asking you for this money back?
Probably a couple weeks after I stopped talking to her.
And when was that?
End of May. Beginning of June.
Why did you stop talking to her at the end of May?
I've been trying to get rid of her. I was trying to get rid of her for a while.
How long is a while, Mr. Sabat?
About a month and a half.
Well, a month and a half would bring us to April.
Right. I've been trying to get rid of her since I hadn't...
Then why did you take $500 from her? If you were trying...
She gave it to me.
Is there something wrong with you?
Nothing at all.
Oh, there is. There is absolutely something wrong with you. Who are you?
I'm his co-worker. The reason why I'm here is because everyone would come into our dealership, our place of business, and she calls a big fit.
Good. Sit down.
Sorry. It's just that... Sorry.
Mr. Sabat, you don't want me to think you're a lowlife.
I'm not a lowlife.
You are, sir. You want me to tell you why you're a lowlife?
Why is that?
Because if you said to me, we really cared about each other,
I
and that's
didn't care
what
about
I'm
it.
speaking. Don't ever interrupt me.
Sorry.
If you said to me, we really cared about each other, I was in a bind, I needed $500. She said, sure, I'll give it to you. If you can pay me back, fine. If you can't, fine. And you were together, you were a couple. And then you broke up. You know, sometimes I can understand that that sort of thing happens. But that's not what you told me, Mr. Sabat. What you told me was you were trying to get rid of her before you took the $500 from her.
Correct.
You were trying to get rid of her before she slept over at your house the beginning of May. And a lowlife takes advantage of somebody who may not be as swift as they are or thinks they're not as swift. You know, there's a difference between being intellectually gifted and having no moral compass, sir. If I had my choice between not being intellectually gifted but having a moral compass, I would pick having a moral compass. You evidently made the wrong choice. You owe her $500, sir. Pay it. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've been trying to get rid of her for a while before she gave me the money.
I'm very pleased with the outcome. I finally have been able to get back my money.
Basically, she tried to buy me back with the money. That's what I think.
I found out that he has gambling problems.
Gambling, I don't need money. I'm a professional boxer. I work full-time as well.
I will never loan anyone money ever again.
She told me not to pay her back. My birthday is beginning of June. She said don't pay her back. It's an early birthday gift.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Price versus Emerson. Step forward.
Peggy Price is suing her ex-boyfriend, Corey Emerson, for loans to pay rent, fix his bike, and travel to his brother's wedding. Corey says the money she gave him was never a loan.
Miss Price, Mr. Emerson was your boyfriend for a brief period of time, and according to your complaint, you made a series of loans to him. You want your money back because he broke off the relationship. He says that he did break off the relationship. Any money that you gave him during the relationship were gifts because you cared for him. You needed the money. That's what people do, care for each other. They help each other out. And the only time it became a loan was when he broke up with you. Is that your defense, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, Mr. Emerson?
30 years old.
Ever been married?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
Just once.
When and for how long?
I was married when I was 20 for 9 years.
You have children?
2.
How old are your children?
9 and 10.
Do you see them?
Almost every day.
So you're a good father.
I try to be, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Emerson?
I work for the railroad.
And how long have you worked for the railroad?
6.5 years.
Pay child support?
Yes, ma'am.
What about you, Miss Price? How old are you?
32.
Ever been married?
Yes.
When and for how long?
2000 until 2005.
Have any children?
2.
How old are they?
5 and 13.
Do you work?
I do.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm self-employed hairstylist.
Children see their father?
Yes.
Do you pay child support?
He's disabled, so they get Social Security.
And your former wife, sir, what does she do?
She has an in-home daycare.
So it would be a fair statement, Mr. Emerson, to say that both of these families are sort of struggling to make ends meet financially. That be a fair statement?
I wouldn't say that I'm struggling, nor would I say she's struggling at all.
Really?
That's correct.
You think there's plenty of money to go around?
I do.
Then why would you take money from her, Mr. Emerson?
I didn't take any money.
No, listen to me, sir.
Oh.
You did take money from her. Whether it's a gift or a loan, you did take money from her, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, if these two families are in pretty much similar circumstance, why would you take money from her?
Things come up, things need to be paid. She offers to pay for those things. I wasn't going to say no.
Why not? Is my question. Why not? Would not a person with a certain moral compass say, listen, you're a working gal, you got 2 little children. I'm a working guy, I got 2 little children.
Somebody offers me money, who am I to say no?
A creep. That's who you are. Because whether I determine this was a gift or a loan, you're a creep. You're not talking about somebody who's got plenty of extra cash and says to somebody that she cares about, listen, I got a lot of extra cash. You need something, I'll help you with it. You were pretty well aware of the fact, if you were dating for a while, that she's a hard-working gal who comes home from work, takes care of her kids, does the cooking, whatever, does everything that has to be done. And you, on the other hand, who see your children every day, which is really very nice, probably have much less responsibility with regard to doing their laundry, with regard to taking them to their appointments, with regard to doing the general stuff, what I call the grunt work, because your children do live with their mother, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we're going to decide whether you are a creep that took the money because it was a loan or a creep that took the money because it was a gift. By the way, I don't approve of your behavior. Now, when did you start dating Mr. Emerson?
The second week of May 2006.
Tell me when and under what circumstances he asked you for the first amount of money.
He wrecked his bike, the fork broke. He said that he didn't have the money to pay for it. Sent me a text message, can you do me a huge favor? That's how all of them start.
Could you do me a huge favor?
Yeah.
Go ahead. What did it say?
I need money to pay for the fork for my bike.
Okay.
So I said under the condition that he make payments, whatever. Eventually it's got to be paid back.
When did you tell him eventually he has to be paid back?
I didn't set a date. I just said, you know, whenever you can pay me back.
Okay, so and how much was that for?
This check was for $409.81.
Okay, next.
Then he was having problems. He didn't have enough money to pay his rent. So
How did you find out about that?
He sent me a text message again asking him to help him pay his rent. And I said, how much is it? And he said it was $640 with late fees. I said, how much do you have? He said he had like $400 in the bank. And I said, I can help you out, but once again, it's, you know, we're adding this on. So I wrote a check for $640, but he gave me $403 of it.
Go ahead.
Then he had to get home. His brother's wedding was like a month before.
He had to go to a wedding?
To Montana. And, you know, we talked about it, and I'm like, I can help you out if you want me to, whatever, I can help you out.
I don't want whatever. You're in court now, Miss Price. You have to be specific about what you said to him and what he said to you, and I want you to trust me on this. I know what you're making up, and I know what you're not making up.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
So a month later, he had a wedding?
Yes.
Where were you when he asked you for the money for the trip?
We were at a bar.
And what did he say to you?
He just said that he didn't have the money to get there. Could I help him out?
And what did you say?
I said, I can do what I can, you know, but...
And how much was that?
The plane ticket was $346.60, and the Greyhound bus that I put him on, because I waited till the last minute to get the plane ticket, and it was going to be $900. So I wasn't going to do that. I didn't have the money to do that, and he knew that. So I sent him on a Greyhound, and that was $159.
Okay, and that's it?
Yes.
And what date was that?
He left on the 1st of August and returned on the 8th.
And when did you and Mr. Emerson stop seeing each other?
He came in on the 11th, which was a Friday, at about noon.
To your salon?
My work, yes. I proceeded to give him and his son a haircut at no charge, thinking everything was okay, because we'd had no problems up till then. And I got a text message 6 hours later from him saying that we needed a break, and, you know, this wasn't working, it was moving too fast, and so we went back and forth through text messages, and I said, you know, I have the right to know why you're feeling this way. I've done everything in the relationship I've given.
And he said?
He said, since you're giving me an ultimatum, it's over.
Okay, now, Mr. Emerson, it's your turn. June. June!
June, the mountain bike. I wrecked my mountain bike. It was going to cost about $400 to fix it. I had talked with Peggy about the price, and she offered to pay for it.
What would you talk to her about the price for?
Well, we're in a relationship. We talked about, you know, I talked about wrecking my mountain bike and, you know, what it was going to be to fix it. And
why would you tell her that? Why don't you tell your ex-wife that?
Actually, I did tell my ex-wife that.
Did she give you any money?
No.
You have living parents?
Yes.
Well, your mother loves you for a longer time than the plaintiff did. Why don't you call your mother and say, I broke my spoke?
I didn't need to. The plaintiff had already offered to pay for it.
She wouldn't need to have offered to have paid for it, Mr. Emerson, if you didn't have a problem. And you wouldn't have had a problem if you called your mother, or your father, or your brother, or your sister, and said, could you loan me some money? Then you wouldn't have even had to mention it to her.
It wasn't a loan. She just offered to pay for it, ma'am.
Well, what about Mr. Emerson? You need not do that. I only know you 8 weeks. And I wouldn't think of taking any money from you because I have a mother who gave birth to me. I have an ex-wife who I support along with my 2 children. I have a brother, sister, father, you know, who I've known a long time. I wouldn't think of taking money from you. How about that?
Didn't even cross my mind.
Nah, that's because you're a creep. Mr. Emerson, you want to tell me what cathartic event happened between the 1st of August when you went home to your brother's wedding and the 11th of August when you had your haircut and your son's haircut for free at Miss Price's salon that caused you to send her a text message that said, we need a break?
It had been leading up to that.
I want you to tell me the cathartic event between August 1st, when you left on a plane ticket that she purchased for you, and when you came back on a Greyhound bus ticket that she had purchased for you that caused you to say, we need a break.
Okay, it was
Follow my train of thought, sir.
It was big deal was the plane ticket. She tells you she's going to do something and she'll play along with the story. I'm going to do this. I've got it taken care of. Don't worry. I'll do it.
Just a second. Just a second. Let's get rid of the gobbledygook, sir. What you're complaining about is
the fact
what
that she does not follow through.
Listen, what you're saying is she sent you home by bus instead of plane. Is that what you're telling me?
That was one of the problems, yes.
Oh, very good. Major creep. Major creep. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,154. That's all.
Parties are excused when they step out.
I'm disappointed there was never any agreement that any money would be paid back.
It was a loan, and he said he owed me nothing.
It was all offered with no strings attached.
He continued to say he owed me nothing.
There was nothing malicious about any of my activities.
I told him he couldn't get any more money when he came back.
I feel I did nothing wrong.
He dumped me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Davis versus Peterson. Step forward.
24-year-old Jennifer Davis is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Christopher Peterson, for a bounced rent check and the resulting fees.
Miss Davis, you and Mr. Peterson lived together for a period of time. He was your boyfriend. Your financial arrangement was that you would give him your half of the rent check, he would put in his half of the rent, and pay the landlord. But according to you, you gave him your half of the rent for October of 2006. You had an argument somewhere the beginning of October where you called the police and had him removed from the house. And he left. He left and he closed the bank account on which this check was drawn, so the check bounced. You remained in the apartment and were forced, according to you, to pay the entire rent, including his half of the rent. Mr. Peterson says, through really no fault of his own, you weren't getting along, you'd had an argument, you went to the police, you had him removed, he wasn't living there, he doesn't have to pay rent, right?
That's right.
So, Miss Davis, when did you move in together?
May of 05.
And when did this incident occur? October of 06?
Yes.
What day in October?
October 9th, I believe.
Is that right?
That's wrong.
What date?
October 6th.
Now, Miss Davis, you're going to tell me exactly what happened on October the 6th.
On October the 6th, Mr. Peterson went out to my car without my permission, went into my car, grabbed a pack of cigarettes out of my car for himself and one for me as well. I did not ask him to do this. He did not have permission to go out to my car. When he came back and I discovered that he had taken a pack for himself as well, I was a little upset. And I confronted him on it and he lied to me.
What did you say?
I asked him if he had taken the pack, why he had taken it without asking me. And he said that he never took a pack and called me a liar. When I confronted him on it and he lied to me yet again, I got upset and basically told him I was done with the lies in the relationship. And when I told him I was done with the relationship, he didn't take that kindly. He said he was not going to give up on the relationship, that he was not going to leave, he wasn't going to give up on us. And when I told him that he did not have a choice, because I was done, he started punching himself in the face.
Show me how he did that.
He was pacing back and forth in the room that we were talking in and just started pounding on himself.
So?
I got scared and I went over to my friend's house.
Okay, he didn't touch you, he didn't put his hands on you?
No.
Okay, so you left and you went to your friend's house?
Yes.
And?
And the next morning, I was afraid to go home, so I went to the police.
What'd you go to the police for? To take you home?
I did not feel safe to go home with the state of mind that he was in.
Okay, so what did you want the police to do?
To remove him.
Why?
So that I could go home.
Well, it was his home too.
But I was not safe in my own home.
But it was his home.
It was his home too, yes.
So if you're not safe, he hasn't done anything to threaten you. He hasn't done anything to harm you. He hasn't put his hands on you. If anything, he was, according to you, he was hurting himself. He was acting, in a self-destructive way. So if you felt unsafe because you didn't like his mental state, why didn't you just leave?
I didn't feel I should have to pack up everything in the apartment that was mine and leave because he was unstable.
Can I see what you told the police, please?
I filed for an order of protection. I didn't have a police report.
What did you say in the report that gave you an order of protection?
I told them exactly what happened.
No, I can't believe anybody issued you an order of protection based on that. Oh, you lied.
No.
Oh, yes, you did.
No.
You said to the police the reason that you were coming to ask for assistance is because he physically threatened you by raising an object over his head to throw it at you and yelled and screamed and called her names.
He had done this prior to this date.
You had no reason to have him evicted from the house. You had reason to leave yourself if you wanted to leave, but you had no reason to force him out of the house. None whatsoever. Okay. Mr. Peterson, you want to tell me your version of the events? What happened? First of all, I don't understand this business about going out. You live together, you're sharing a house, you're sharing a bedroom, you have an intimate relationship, and she gets upset because you went out and took 2 packs of cigarettes instead of 1. Did you go out to the car to get a pack of cigarettes for her?
I went out to the car to grab a pack of cigarettes for her. I asked her that night, and she said yes.
He'd never
No, don't speak now. Don't speak. You have to be quiet, because it's his turn to testify. Did you see how quiet he was when you were testifying? Now it's his turn.
I asked her permission the night before to grab a pack of cigarettes.
Are you on some sort of medication? Listen to me, Miss Davis. Are you on medication?
No.
Then I can speak to you frankly. I said it once. When you were testifying, he was quiet. He didn't interrupt. Now it's your turn to be quiet and allow me to take his testimony. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Good.
The night before, I did ask permission to go to her car and get a pack of cigarettes for myself. She was okay with that.
I don't understand why there was this whole big hullabaloo because of the cigarettes, so it must have been something else fomenting in the relationship for a while.
It was because I was also unemployed for at least 3 weeks, and she
was annoyed because you weren't working and weren't buying the cigarettes.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. So what happened when you came inside, Mr. Peterson?
What happened was I came inside. I went to try to get into my bedroom. She had the master bedroom door blocked. I don't know why she had it all blocked, but after an hour and a half, 2 hours later, she had the door open. There was this mysterious odor in the air, as if she was smoking something funky.
Mr. Peterson, did you at any time on the 6th of October threaten Miss Davis?
No.
Did you at any time on the 6th of October pick up an object to throw at her?
No.
Had that ever happened in the past?
No.
Did she give you her half of the rent?
Yes, she did.
For October?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't pay any of the rent?
I did pay the rent. I had my half in my checking account. She gave me her half. When I closed out my checking account, I made sure that all the money was still in the account.
How much out of pocket are you, Miss Davis?
I'm out $914.
From what?
I gave him $467, plus his half of the rent, plus the late fees and the non-sufficient
His half of the rent he's not giving
He's
you.
still on the lease.
I don't care whether he's still on the lease. You threw him out of the house without just cause. You threw him out by lying to the police. And you're not being, listen to me, and you're not being rewarded for that. If you felt unsafe about going back to your home because you felt as if he wasn't acting in an appropriate way, then you go stay with your friend, you stay with your family, you find a new apartment. But you don't lie to the police and have him thrown out. So you're not getting his half of the rent. Period. The money that you gave him, that he is responsible for if you didn't get it back. So my question is, did you get that money back?
I have not seen any money from him.
So how much was his half of the rent?
$363.
And you gave him $467
I gave him $467.
Why would you give him $467 if his half was $363?
Part of it was supposed to go toward another bill that did not get paid as well.
What bill?
A credit card bill.
Okay, well then that's what he owes you, $467, not $900. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment, and you absolutely didn't have any right to lie to the police. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $467. That's
Do
all.
I get
Thank
the
you.
late fees or anything like that?
Absolutely not, madam. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment. None. Zero.
He could have said something, and so I could have covered the rest of the rent before it was late.
He could have said a lot of things. You also should not have gone to the police and perjured yourself. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He had been verbally abusive the entire relationship.
This relationship, I gave my 110%.
I was afraid to go home with him acting the way that he was.
But never worked out. She was just too ignorant.
He told me that I was crazy and whatever.
A lesson I've learned is that never trust a woman that lies a lot.
Not get together with guys like him.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gill versus Johnson, step forward, please.
Erin Gill is suing her former live-in boyfriend, Stephen Johnson, for a plasma TV he took from their home when he moved out. Stephen claims the TV was a gift from Erin.
Ms. Gill, this gentleman used to be your boyfriend. You lived together for, I don't know, 5-6 months. Is that about right?
A little longer than that. But
And
close.
according to your complaint, when things didn't work out and you left, he agreed to keep the 42-inch plasma television set and make payments on it. It was bought on your credit. He kept the TV, he didn't make the payments, you want the payments made.
Correct.
The defendant says that things didn't work out, but as soon as you moved in together, you started purchasing things for the apartment, furniture, etc., all kinds of stuff. When he left with the clothes on his back and the TV. So you kept everything else, and the TV is supposed to be his. Is that right, sir? That's your defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a truthful defense?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever agree to make payments on the TV?
No, ma'am.
When did you move in together, Mr. Johnson?
Approximately sometime last year, I believe, in the middle of the year.
June 2005.
And when did you separate?
January of 2006.
And whose apartment was it?
It was under Erin's name. She was on the lease.
You moved in together?
Correct.
When you moved into the apartment, where did you move from?
I moved from my residence that I had shared with my husband.
And you?
From one of my friend's houses.
So you came with no furniture?
No.
Did you come with furniture?
Yes.
What did you come with?
I came with couches, a television, tables. I purchased a bed shortly after moving into the residence, so.
What items do you say you purchased for the residence, Mr. Johnson?
Well, previously to that, I had 2 dresser drawers, a barbecue set, a couple scenic television portraits, another television that I bought in the apartment to furnish it.
Another TV?
Yes.
How large a TV?
It's a 19-inch television set.
How much did you pay for it?
Off the top of my head, approximately about $150.
And where was that, in the bedroom?
I believe it was her son's bedroom.
And you left that TV?
Yes.
And the dressers, drawers, and that stuff, those were not things that you purchased?
Earlier, but not jointly.
Okay. Now, when you left, did Miss Gill say you couldn't take any of these things with you?
No.
So you could have taken your little 19-inch TV, whatever dresser drawers that you left there, you could have taken it with you, right?
Yes.
Because although they probably weren't happy with each other, this was not a hostile separation, right?
It had the potential of being hostile, but
it wasn't. Now, why, Mr. Johnson, would Miss Gill, who has a child, why would she make a gift to you of $3,700 for a television set?
basically, I mean, I left all the items in there, didn't retrieve them.
What?
The dressers.
You could have retrieved them. They were valueless.
I could have, but at that point in time, the relationship had become so dramatic. I just didn't want anything to do with her, and I just didn't want to go back. And when I left, basically, with the clothes on my back.
And the one item of value, which was this $4,000 television set.
And she had asked me if I wanted to take the TV, and I told her yes. And I took the TV.
And she said, take the TV. And what you're telling me is she said, take the TV and I will pay for it?
No.
Well, who was supposed to pay for it?
When she asked me, I assumed it was going to be a gift.
You mean in this... Shh, listen. Ms. Johnson, so what you're telling me is in the midst of this hostile situation, because you used the word hostile.
I'm sorry?
You used the word hostile.
Yes.
You know, potentially hostile. You thought that she made you a $4,000 gift.
Well, along with all the stuff that I left in the apartment, I mean...
You left a lot of junk in the apartment, Mr. Johnson.
Maybe junk to you, but what was it to me?
Tell me what was there that you wanted. The 19-inch television set? That could have fit under one arm. She wasn't preventing you from taking it.
I could have also taken the dresser drawers and...
Well, you could have, but you took the $4,000 television set.
She asked me if I wanted it, so I'm not going to turn it down.
Go ahead.
I asked him if he wanted everything. I told him the date I was moving out of the apartment and told him if he did not pick up his belongings that were still at the residence, I would donate them to charity or drop them off at his parents' house, whatever worked for him, and he did not respond to me.
Tell me about the television set.
What would you like to know?
I want to know, what arrangement did you make for him to pay the television set?
We went into Paul's TV, which he researched and found that they had the best prices on televisions.
No, it's purchased.
It's purchased.
Already.
Okay.
Purchased on your credit card.
Right. So we buy the TV, we're in there. It was originally going to be in Steve's name, and there came up some issues with his credit, so they...
I heard that already.
Okay.
I want to know when you were exiting, the exit strategy with regard to the TV.
When he left?
Yes.
When he did leave, he left with just his clothes. We had a few phone conversations, and he came to get the rest of his clothing and other miscellaneous belongings. And at that point, we had a conversation about the TV. And I said, would you like to take the TV and you can pay for it, or I'll keep the TV and pay for it? He said he'll take it and pay for it, and never did.
That sounds right. Nobody's going to make you a gift of $3,700. Is that what you owe on the TV?
It's $37.26.
Can I see it, please?
And here's the payoff statement as of yesterday from Wells Fargo.
Well, the total price was $37.26. You mean nobody paid for it?
No, he's been receiving monthly bills at his parents' house, and he hasn't made any payments.
So you had this TV for 6 months and nobody paid for it?
It was a no interest, no payments for, I believe, 1 or 2 years.
It was a special promotion they were running. It's
Yeah.
no money down, no interest, no payments. I don't believe the year has passed by. That's why there's no money due yet.
Well, that's not the issue. The issue is, at this point, you have said that you have no intention of paying this. Is that right?
Completely. Yes.
Okay. 3726, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Oh, he's excused and they step out.
The husband in there was his soon-to-be ex-husband. She had filed for divorce.
I think he's a guy with low morals.
He was very hostile.
Absolutely. He had an affair with my wife.
I had to pretty much cut my losses.
So as you can see from my side of it, I would be quite upset.
And leave the residence and lose all contact with her.
Wasn't meant to work out, and, unfortunately, it ended on a bad note.
And I moved on, and I'm just thankful this is over, so I don't have to speak with her anymore.
We ended up in this forum, but things are good now.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ayala versus Almengor. Step forward, please.
22-year-old Ruth Ayala is suing her former friend, 19-year-old Nicole Almengor, for crashing her brand new Toyota Corolla.
Ah, Miss Ayala, how old are you?
22.
Tell me what kind of car you had.
A Toyota Corolla 2006.
Who bought it for you?
I did, with my dad as a co-signer.
Who is this?
He's my witness.
Well, what is he a witness to?
He works with me at Sears, and he's witness because Nicole talked to him several times telling him that she was going to help me with the damage of my car when the accident.
That's your witness. I just wanted to know what he could possibly say. Now I got it. Now, your father worked?
Yes.
I ask you all of these questions because this is the scenario that I got. You had to deliver a car to a sister of yours who lived someplace else. So you ask the defendant, do me a favor, follow me in my sister's car. I'm going to drive my new car. And then when we drop my sister's car off, we'll drive home together.
Right.
So you asked her to do you a favor. She did. You were both very tired or whatever. Did you go to a party the night at your sister's house? Is that right?
The night before the accident.
Yes. You went to a party. You both stayed up late after you had delivered the sister's car.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And when you got into your car, you said to Miss
Almengor,
would you do me a favor? I'm tired. Would you drive? Because I don't feel like driving home. And she did.
Right.
And she had an accident in your brand new car.
Right.
And you want her to pay for half the damage.
Right.
And she says she had an accident. You should have had insurance. And you had a brand new car with no insurance. How do you have a new car with no insurance when you have a loan?
Well, the car in the month when I got my car was on July 12th. They gave me a month with the dealer to have insurance, and afterwards my dad was going to add my car to his policy. So they took pictures of my car on August 26th. So the insurance was in process, which I thought...
Just a second. July 12th you bought the car.
Right.
The dealer had insurance for 1 month. That's August 12th.
Right.
There's a big gap here between August 12th and August 26th. What were you doing, in hibernation? You were sleeping? From August 12th to August 26th at least, when they were going to take pictures, you had no insurance. They were giving you insurance for a month so that you could get it all in place in the month. You waited until it was all over to get insurance?
It was in the process of getting the insurance.
You had no insurance. That's your fault. If you had insurance, they would have covered whatever damage you had to the car.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's your fault.
Yes, it's my fault. I know that, and I accept the responsibility, but it was in the process. My dad was going to add it to his policy.
So is it your fault or your father's fault?
It's my fault in the first place.
It's your fault in the first place? Then you got to pay for the damage.
But she was driving my car.
She was doing you a favor. She had an accident. She didn't have it on purpose.
I asked her to slow down.
You asked her to drive your car.
Yes, and I asked her to slow down because I knew how traffic was going to get, and she didn't.
I don't believe that for a second. You asked her to slow down because you knew the traffic was going to get bad, so you asked her to slow down?
I asked her to slow down because she was driving too fast.
I don't believe you. I didn't even ask her, and I don't believe you.
Well, I got the police report and the pictures of the damage of the car.
I believe your car was damaged. I believe she was in an accident. I know that if you had had proper insurance on your car, the insurance would have paid for the accident. She wasn't being reckless. You asked her to drive. Why didn't you drive home?
I asked her, is she mine? She said no.
That's not my question. Why didn't you drive your car home?
Because I wanted a rest. I was tired.
So you wanted to rest you were tired. Did you go to sleep in the long ride home?
No, I didn't.
You mean you kept your eyes open?
Yes.
And you should have driven. Listen, when you're very tired, everybody knows if you're really tired and you get into a car and you've been up partying the night before and somebody else is driving, you're out. As soon as that hum starts to go, I'm getting tired as I'm telling the story.
I just think it's just fair for her to help me with half, because if it would have been me driving her car and getting on the accident, she would expect me to pay with half.
She may. I think you and your father ought to split it. She was in an accident. Accidents happen. Your father is older than you are. He should have made sure that if he co-signed for a car for you, that car had insurance.
We don't live together. I don't live with my father.
I don't care whether you live with him or not. It doesn't matter whether you live with your father or not. Your father chose to co-sign for a car for you, 22 years old, hardly old enough to be out of the house on their own. And if he chose to co-sign for a car for you, he should have had the brains to make sure it had insurance. Tell me about the accident.
Well, on the way back to Bakersfield, we were involved in an accident. It was more of a freeway accident, and I was driving her car, and when the accident happened, the airbags came out.
How did the accident happen?
While we were driving...
Not we, you were driving.
Well, while I was driving, there was cars in front of us started slowing down and swerving out the way. I guess there was an accident in front of us, and I also tried to swerve out the way, but in the rearview mirror I could see cars coming behind us, and we hit the car in front of us.
Not we, you.
Or I hit the car in front of us.
How many cars were involved in the accident?
It was just one other car and myself.
So the other cars managed to avoid hitting each other?
Yes.
But not you?
No.
Had you been drinking that morning?
No.
Okay, you weren't sleeping at the wheel, were you?
No.
How fast were you going? Do you remember?
I was going the speed limit. I wasn't speeding at all.
Excuse me, Your Honor, she's lying. She wasn't going the speed limit, because if she would have been going the speed limit, she would have had enough time to brake.
I actually was going the speed limit.
Listen, I don't have any proof whether she was or whether she wasn't. Whether she was...
I have the police report. It says on the police report.
That what?
That it was her fault because of speed.
Let me see the police report.
There was nowhere in the police report that I admitted to speeding at all.
I just want to read the police report. Both cars involved in the accident were traveling at about the same rate of speed. And these are all approximates, according to the police. One car was going 65 miles an hour, one car was going 70 miles an hour. Both cars acknowledged, both the one that she hit and the other car acknowledged, that traffic started to slow down ahead of them, and it was an accident. There's no indication here that she was driving at an excessive rate of speed. I'm sorry, Miss Ayala, the responsibility is yours. If you have a brand new car, you're supposed to make sure that that brand new car is covered by insurance, so that if you have an accident, the insurance company pays for it. And if you're not able to drive home, not able because you were up late partying, you wait another day. You wait another 6 hours before you go home, and you drive your own car home. You know, you have to be grown-up if you're going to drive a brand new car. If you're going to drive any car, you have to be a grown-up, and you have to take steps to ensure that if you have an accident. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured in this accident. But I'm going to tell you something. If somebody was seriously injured in the accident, the driver ahead of you, you and your father would lose your house because you're driving an uninsured car. So not only don't you have collision, you don't have liability. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, now you understand it. You get it. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I know I was driving, but it was her fault for not having insurance.
Almagor agreed to pay half of the damage, and she didn't.
I never promised her anything. I told her I would help her, but I never promised the amount to pay.
At the moment of the accident, well, she agreed to pay all of it, and then she changed her mind and she said she was going to pay it for half.
I offered to give her rides when she needed to go to work, and I offered things like that.
After the accident, she said she had other bills to pay.
She said that she was so tired and she didn't want to drive, so I felt bad and I drove for her.
We're no longer friends.
It was a very big mistake. I knew I shouldn't have done it, and I really regret that.
As a friend, I thought she would have my back, as I would have had her back too.
It is upsetting. I regret that that happened and we lost our friendship, but if that's how she wants it to be, then that's how it is.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Miller versus Smith. Step forward, please.
Cindy Miller is suing her former landlord, Grover Smith III, for the return of rent. Cindy says on the day she moved into Grover's home, it was raided by police.
Miss Miller, you rented a room from Mr. Smith in his house?
Yes, Your
Is
Honor,
that
I
right?
did.
According to your complaint, shortly after you moved in, there was a police siege in his house, and Mr. Smith was arrested.
Correct.
You moved out? Wise. Very wise. You want your $500 back.
Correct.
Okay. When did you move in?
I moved in the 10th of December.
Okay. Where had you been living?
In Granada Hills at a different house.
Why did you move out of your last house?
I needed to get another place to live because I was assaulted on Thanksgiving, and that's another case pending, and I was afraid that the assailants would find me where I was. So I needed to find someplace else to go very quickly. So I looked in the penny saver and I found Mr. Grover's house. And it
Were you assaulted during a robbery attempt? Or?
No, it was during Thanksgiving at one of my friend's houses. And
okay.
It's a story, it's another case.
Okay. So you found the room through the penny saver?
Right.
And?
And then I moved in on the 10th of December. And
gave him $500.
I gave him
so
$500.
So far correct, Mr. Smith?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Keep going.
And then I moved in about 4:30 on that afternoon on Sunday, and at 8 p.m., 8:30 that night, there was police outside, and they came on the loudspeaker, and they said, "Everybody out of the house, come out with your hands up."
That was the day you moved in?
The day I moved in, like 4 hours later. And Grover comes and knocks on my door and says, "Cindy, we have to go outside because the police want us to go outside." And I said, "Oh my gosh." So I had no shoes on, no coat. But we went to the front door, and Grover looks at me and he says, "Now if they asked you, tell them I didn't change my clothes and I never left the house."
He said that to you?
He said that to me.
Why would you ask her to say that, sir?
I don't recall saying that to her.
That would be an odd thing for her to make up.
Yeah.
What were they looking for you for, Mr. Smith?
I was accused of robbing my ex-girlfriend.
On that day?
On the same day that she moved in, yeah.
Were you home that day?
Yes, I was home.
Did you ever go out that day?
Just one time to the backyard. That's about it for a little while.
How long?
Do some yard work.
How long?
Maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Other than that, you were home all day?
Yes.
Was he home all day?
No.
So, you were all made to come out of the house. You weren't totally dressed when you came out of the house. When did you move out?
I didn't move out for a week because I didn't have a place to go just yet. I called my brother that night after the police let us back in the house after a big ordeal with the police handcuffed me. I had to raise
they handcuffed you?
Yes, I had to go out. I had to go out of the house with my hands raised, with the guns pointed at me. And he was yelling at the police saying, you know, "Sir, don't make me come out of the house because I've been shot before by the police." And I was like, oh my gosh. So then they handcuffed me and they patted me down and made sure I didn't have any weapons, and they made us stay outside for like an hour.
When did you ask him for the $500 back?
A few days later.
And what did he say?
No.
I don't recall ever hearing from this woman that, you know, that I owed her any money at all.
Well, what did you think she sent you a summons for, sir? She was inviting you to take line dance lessons?
No, today is the first time that I've heard from this woman.
But you got a summons from her? You came to court? You must have known that she wanted her money back. Why didn't you just give her the $500 back?
I didn't know she wanted any money back until today.
Until today? What did you think she wanted? She wanted to date you?
I thought she was still living in my house. She still lives with me. To my knowledge, she still lives there.
What do you mean?
She could have fooled me. I've been gone an awful long time.
She's lucky that I'm not countersuing her.
Just a minute. Are you telling me she still lives in your house?
Yes. I've gotten no 30-day notice, let alone no 3-day notice.
I don't care whether you got a 30-day notice, a 3-day notice, or a partridge in a pear tree, sir. Did she live in your house?
Yeah, she lived in my house.
As of when was she sleeping in your house?
As of December 10th.
Oh, get out of here, idiot. Oh, listen. If I could fine you for stupid, I would fine you for stupid. Right now, all you owe is $500. Judging for the plaintiff,
it was
the amount of
false
$500. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused.
I believe they were looking for drugs.
Yeah, I smoke marijuana.
Because there were drugs in the house.
Legally, it's my prescription.
It was just really bad. I'm so glad it's over with.
Ellen Henderson is suing her ex-roommate, Tara Williams, for breaking a lease and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2023, Henderson versus Williams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Henderson, you and your kids and Miss Williams and her kids decided to rent a house together.
Yes.
And when was that initially?
We moved in January 21st of 2021.
How large a house was it?
5-bedroom.
And who moved in with you?
Me, my 2 children, Tara, her 3 children, and...
The third roommate?
Yes.
What was your share of the rent?
The share of the rent?
Yours?
$14.95.
And yours?
We paid, me and her split it, and then took cash from
The third roommate.
Yes, so $14.95 too.
And you lived there for a year. What I gather is sort of towards the end of the year, things were getting a little testy between the two of you, either because of you or because of the kids. You had children, and things weren't working out, so that both of you were not real happy with each other. That be a fair statement?
Yes. It started earlier in 2021.
I'm sure, but at the time that the lease was up, you both weren't really happy with each other. And according to your complaint, she left, you were stuck paying the rent, and she had signed a renewal of the lease, and you want her to pay her portion of the rent until you found a new roommate, which you actually found a new roommate several months later. The defendant says she told you that she was contemplating living with you for another year, that her speculation that you went into her room and took a signed copy of the lease and gave it to the rental agent or whoever it was.
It would have been in the kitchen in my area where my papers were.
Whatever. Yeah. And it was never her intention to sign a second lease. Your lease was up in January of 2022.
Yes.
The defendant was away for a period of time. When was the defendant away? Just prior to January of 2022.
She went to Hawaii for a week.
When?
I think she left on January 8th, give or take a day, I don't remember.
And did you return the signed copies of the lease to the landlord?
No, they were turned in December.
By both of you?
For the lease renewal, all three of us re-signed in December. And I have a copy of that.
What I'm asking you is, were they turned in, because that's very easy to verify, were they all turned in before she went to Hawaii?
Yes.
Okay. I'll see what you have. Well, Miss Williams, if it's your statement that she took your signed copy of the lease and turned it in without your permission at some point when you were in Hawaii, that's what you're alleging. If this doesn't bear that out, Miss Williams, I'm going to tell you it doesn't lend itself to the truth of that statement, because this indicates that the two of you and the third roommate signed this on December the 19th. Then you turned it in. Then it was turned in. That was before you went to Hawaii. The landlord signed it on December 20th, which means that if the landlord signed it on December 20th, he signed it before you went to Hawaii, which means she couldn't have stolen your copy of the lease.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah, no, I'm not stating I was in Hawaii when she turned it in. I left for Hawaii January 8th through the 18th.
I understand that.
Okay. I was unaware.
When our lease was up for renewal, we weren't getting along, and I was on the fence about spending another year with Ellen. In December, we received a copy of the lease renewal. I felt pressured into signing it, but then we told Ellen we needed more time, just you. I had to leave town. Well, I don't know, you don't have any witness here because you say I had to leave town, so I decided to hold on to the lease until I returned. Where did you go?
I went to Hawaii.
Well, that was in January.
Yes.
Well, but the landlord got a copy of the signed agreement December 20th.
I didn't know it was turned in.
Oh, well,
I didn't receive an
I
email.
don't know whether it was turned in or not.
So I emailed Rentcon, and I have messages stating it was received from Ellen.
Okay. I'll see what you have. No. This doesn't say that at all. The lease renewal was signed by all three tenants. Correct. Lease was signed by all three tenants, and it was received before you went to Hawaii on the 20th of December. Okay. Easy. You moved out in February?
January 31st of 22.
When was the first lease up?
The 22nd of January 22.
So you stayed on after the lease was up?
Yes.
Why?
I wasn't completely moved out yet. I
Oh,
was in
that's
Hawaii.
bad.
I had reached out to Rincon about paying extra to pay the extra few days.
No. Okay. And when did you get a new roommate? Did you keep blowing her off, or did you answer her?
No, I
No, just a second.
I did not.
Did you blow her off, or did you answer? So the answer is you blew her off. You blew her off.
Yes.
About the rent, which she was stuck with.
Right.
Right. Okay, good.
Ellen Henderson claims her ex-roommate, Tara Williams, broke their lease and filed a false restraining order against her. Tara is countersuing for a security deposit, utilities, and damaged property.
Okay, when did you get a new roommate?
She moved in April 18th.
Did she pay January's rent?
Yes.
So you're talking about February and March.
February, March, and then prorated April.
Well, February and March, $14.95, $29.90. Okay, the next part of your case involves filing for a false restraining order. Did you file a restraining order, Miss Williams, against Miss Henderson?
Yes.
I'd like to see what it says. No, don't give me that whole thing. Your application for a restraining order, I'd like to see what your application for... Don't hand them that whole thing. I said I'd like to see what your application for a restraining order said. Okay, so what you say is she sent you 3 letters. You're asking because she sent you 3 letters. They were annoying. I want to know what she was asking for in those letters. Was she asking for rent money? Was she asking for rent?
Yes.
Okay, so she was asking for her money.
Yes.
For your rent money for the months that she didn't have a roommate. Well, that's not harassment, madam.
There's more, but...
What?
There's more. She's telling me that I stole some of her stuff and stuff. In the first letter, it says, if you don't pay this in 5 days, we'll take...
Yeah, she's allowed to say that. Okay.
Yeah, which
so
is
she wrote
totally
to you.
fine, but she sent it 2 more times, emailed it, and then showed up at my children's school while I was dropping them off.
Did you keep blowing her off, or did you answer her?
No, I
No, just a second.
I did not.
Did you blow her off, or did you answer? So the answer is you blew her off.
Yes, I was fine with going to court.
You blew her off.
Yes.
About the rent, which she was stuck with.
Right.
Right. Okay, good. $29.90 is what she owes you for rent. Now, part of your counterclaim for get money for damages, you get security deposit. How much was her security deposit?
We paid equally between me and her.
No, how much did she pay?
It was half of...
How much was your security deposit?
$1,747.50.
1747. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And where is her security deposit?
In our lease, it states that if you break the lease, the deposit stays with the house. And I have an email from the property management stating that same thing, that she signed a lease saying that if she leaves early, the money stays with the house until everyone moves out.
So the security deposit, if you and your new roommate keep the house safe, you're going to get back.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't allege any damage. Is that correct?
I had to clean up the carpets in her room upstairs. And
Okay, do you have an invoice for that?
No, I did it myself.
Okay. 2990 less 1747?
$1,243.
So far she owes you $1,243. That's less the security deposit, which you and your hopefully neat roommate will get back.
May I say something about the payments for rent? So it was me and her doing equal rent at $1795.25. So that's what I paid. Me and her paid that in January, and I paid the entire amount in February, March.
I understand she was no longer paying rent. You're getting the rent, but I'm deducting from that.
My portion is $1795, and that's what I'm asking her for, because that's what her portion was when she moved out as well.
Just a second. Am I correct that she, at the time you moved in, individually paid as a security deposit $1,747? Is that correct?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the rent payments. It's not $14.95, it's $17.95.
Was your rent each month $14.95 or $17.95?
$14.95.
Can I see it? Anybody have any proof of that?
I printed out the log, but she paid us $300 each in cash. So there's no, she is on the lease, but it does not show she was paying cash.
You mean the third roommate?
Yes.
The third roommate?
Right.
So your amount was $14.95?
Correct.
I got it. Okay,
until
good.
The end of December.
Okay, I'm finished. Now, the next part of your counterclaim is for utilities. Security deposit you get back. What utilities do you think she owes you?
She did not pay me November, December, January, or February closing for utilities.
Did you pay them?
I paid them.
I'd like to see where you paid them. No, don't give me a whole bunch of papers. I don't want to see a whole bunch of papers that I have to go through. I want to see what utilities there were, when you sent her, a statement of what the utilities were.
Yes.
I assume it worked that she paid you a portion of the utilities.
Yes, it was
What
split.
portion of the utilities did you pay?
We split it equally the whole time we were there.
Okay, so whatever utility bills that were paid by her, you were supposed to pay half.
Correct. Which
Did you?
my last payment to her was December 4th for Spectrum Water, Trash, and Gas.
That was 12/4. How much did you pay her?
$364.61.
Okay, just a second. Did she pay you $364 in December?
She did for prior months.
So that was for November. That covered November. If it was paid in December, that covered November.
It would have been more so October. I
can't get involved with that, madam. Don't give him a whole bunch of papers. Don't give him a whole bunch of papers. December and January statement for utilities. You were gone in February.
Yes.
December and January bills for utilities. Did you pay those?
I did not because she left me with all the rent.
I understand that, but now you're getting your rent. Now we're going to settle up on the utilities.
And I didn't include it in the lawsuit, but she still owes me for trash. And I have a list of stuff that she took of mine that I did.
I'm not interested in it, Miss Henderson.
And
it didn't work out. You should be very happy. She's gone. You didn't like her.
She overcharged me utilities with her business expenses.
Okay.
Every month we lived there.
Did you come in contact with her on the 25th of May in a pedestrian car incident?
Not that I recall.
About 1 minute to 8 in the morning. Who drives a white minivan?
Me.
Ellen Henderson has accused her ex-roommate, Tara Williams, of breaking their lease. Tara claims she filed the restraining order because Ellen was stalking her.
Miss Henderson, it didn't work out. You should be very happy. She's gone. You didn't like her.
She overcharged me utilities with her business expenses.
Okay.
Every month we lived there.
We have a bill for December and January. If there's anything here that's not December and January, I'm dismissing that part of your claim. And I already have a bill that's dated April of 2022.
Right, that was for January and February water.
That's $390. Billing date 4/14. No.
It was.
No. I want you, because I'm losing my patience slowly. Please read out the bills, the total bills for December and January only. Sarah, get ready.
Can it go till February 1st?
Yes.
Okay.
By the way, while she's looking for that, did you go to her kid's school?
I served her a letter of default and a cease and desist letter in the parking lot of her school, kids' school. Because she didn't pick up a letter from the mailbox. She knew it was coming from me. And I had to go back to the mailbox and get it after a month.
Okay.
And I didn't know where she lived. I didn't know how else to reach her.
Okay. Did you come in contact with her on the 25th of May in a pedestrian car incident?
Not that I recall.
About 1 minute to 8 in the morning. Who drives a white minivan?
Me. What was the date?
May 25th.
Oh, yeah, that was her kid's school. That was her kid's school when I delivered the letter.
Well, that's why she filed for protective order against you. Not unreasonable. It was dismissed after a hearing, or it was just dismissed?
It was dismissed after a hearing.
Yeah. Part of your claim for filing a false restraining order is dismissed. I could actually see why you would get frightened if somebody went to your kid's school to serve you papers. Okay, what are the bills for utilities?
Can I just say something?
Sure.
I had to give her those letters in order to file for small claims.
Okay.
I had tried to mail it, and she didn't go to the post office.
I got it. Could we have the utilities? Which utility and what is it? You should have all this together for me and not make it difficult. Okay. This is why you were coming. Don't read out the numbers, what the utility is for what month and the amount.
So water, $257.94. Water for February was $132.09. For 12/03 bill date for electricity was $167.
What date?
12/20.
That's December.
Yes,
but that was for November.
I thought we were doing December, January.
for December, but you wouldn't have gotten December's bill in December. You would have gotten it in January.
It was prepared 1203.
Right, but that's dealt with November. It was prepared 1203. They're not prorated. Come on, let's go.
Okay, 204. This was prepared for electricity 7472.
Okay.
This one was for the date that I ended of 128 to 201. It was 1278 for Edison electricity.
Let's move on.
And then this is gas for 1229 to 127. It was 3704. And then the ending charges was 572.
Got it? $5.72. I can't believe it. Okay, would you add those up? Yeah. And your arrangement with her, Miss Henderson, was that you each paid half of the utilities. Is that right?
Yeah. Can I say something about that too? Back in April or May of 2021, I went to her to speak and ask about me paying less for water, gas, and electric because she brought all of her Airbnb laundry. She has a cleaning business. And our washers and dryers were going constantly.
And?
And she didn't meet me halfway, so I was stuck paying half.
Fine.
I have the total for you ready. 507.51.
Divide it by 2.
$254.
1243 less 254. 1243 is what she's owed now, less the security deposit. I love this case. Couldn't be more excited about it.
$989.
Judgment for the plaintiff, $989.
Your Honor,
They're finished. Thank you very much. We're done.
Court is adjourned.
Thank you.
It's sad that I lost, but I put up a good fight.
I'm happy with the decision.
She didn't want to live with me, that there were issues. Why would you turn in a lease to renew for a whole nother entire year with someone?
It's been a lot of stress.
I wanted her to file suit so I could see her in court in order to take care of the matter.
I had nowhere to go, and I didn't think she was going to renew, to be honest.
0 roommates. Don't do it.
I mean, I went into it thinking that this was going to be a good situation. I really got along, and I loved her and her kids, and I don't know that I could have done anything different.
So the new phenomenon that I've seen over this past generation, for as long as I've been in this business, is because of the economy, people having to live together that are either in love with each other or related to each other. And I actually think, Sarah, that's such a very hard thing to do. Mm-hmm. You know, this isn't the first case that we've had that involved adults and their kids having to, for financial reasons, move in with each other. I think I've always said, and I don't know how you feel about this, that I'd rather live in a shoebox alone than with strangers in more comfortable surroundings.
Sure. I think that's a tough call that a lot of people are having to make nowadays with the cost of living and inflation.
Young people.
2 single mothers trying to live together with their children to give them a home environment. So it's a risk that you take when you don't know the other person. Even when you do know them, we see family members fighting all the time. So I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that people have to make those kinds of choices for happiness. Shouldn't create that kind of stress.
I think the best thing you can do is have a concrete contract to fall back on for if something like this happens, because it's a very stressful situation.
Yeah, but nobody wants to take that risk. Yeah. Nobody wants to, who's signing a lease agreement, say, if it doesn't work out, this is what happens. Well, that's never between the tenant and the landlord. As between those two people, maybe it would be enforceable, but not between the two tenants and the landlord.
Landlord still gets his money.
Landlord gets his money. Stay with people who you love, or you have to love.